Millions of fans were stunned when shocking posts began spreading online, claiming that Kyle Busch had died. The headlines looked real. The reactions were emotional. And within hours, confusion was everywhere. But what was the truth? How did these rumors start? And why did so many people believe them? The story behind the viral claims is stranger than most people realize. And once the facts came out, many fans were left speechless. It started like so many shocking stories do. A headline appeared online, then another, and another. Within a few hours, social media was flooded with posts claiming that Kyle Busch had died. Some messages sounded emotional. Others looked like breaking news. A few even included old photos and dramatic captions designed to grab attention. For many fans, the news felt impossible. Kyle Busch was one of the most recognizable names in racing. For years, he had thrilled crowds with his fearless driving style, his fierce determination, and his ability to turn every race into a battle. Love him or hate him, people paid attention when he was on the track. That is why the rumors spread so quickly. Fans rushed to comment sections searching for answers. Some expressed shock. Others posted messages of sadness before checking whether the story was true. The emotional reactions came fast. And that was exactly what helped the rumor grow. The more people reacted, the more the posts appeared in front of new viewers. Suddenly, thousands of people were seeing the same frightening claim. To many, it looked real simply because so many others were talking about it. But there was one problem. Nobody could find a trustworthy source. No official statement appeared. No major sports organization confirmed the story. No family announcements surfaced. Yet the rumor continued moving from page to page, gathering attention with every share. This is where confusion began to take over. Some fans started asking whether they had missed a major event. Others wondered if news outlets were simply slow to report it. The uncertainty created even more curiosity. The situation revealed something important about today's internet. People often see a headline before they see the facts. And when emotions are involved, many react first and verify later. As the rumor continued spreading, racing communities became filled with questions. Was there any truth to the claims? Where had the story started? And why was nobody providing clear answers? For a brief moment, it felt as if the entire racing world was holding its breath. But behind the dramatic headlines and emotional posts, a very different story was waiting to be uncovered. And once investigators and fans started tracing the source of the rumor, they discovered something that made the entire situation even more surprising. The truth was only beginning to emerge. The biggest question was simple. How could so many people believe a story that wasn't supported by any reliable source? The answer had less to do with Kyle Busch himself and more to do with the way information spreads online. Over the years, fans had seen countless stories about celebrities, athletes, and public figures. Some were true, some were not. But social media had trained people to expect shocking news at any moment. That made the rumor feel possible. When fans saw emotional headlines next to a familiar face, many reacted instinctively. The posts were designed to trigger strong emotions before viewers had time to think critically. A dramatic photo, a heartbreaking caption, a claim that seemed urgent. For many people, that was enough. The rumor also gained strength because Kyle Busch had spent years in the public spotlight. His career had been filled with intense competition, controversy, victories, and setbacks. Fans felt like they knew him personally. When someone has been part of your life for years, even through a television screen, emotional reactions become natural. Some fans remembered watching him race as teenagers. Others had followed his career for decades. Many had celebrated his victories and criticized his mistakes. But almost everyone had an opinion about him. That emotional connection made the rumor more powerful. The internet moves quickly, and people often share information before confirming whether it is accurate. One person reposts a story, then 10 more do the same. Soon, thousands of users are repeating a claim that nobody has actually verified. What started as a single rumor begins to look like a confirmed fact. The frightening part is how easily this can happen. A false story doesn't need evidence to spread. It only needs attention. And attention is one of the most valuable things on the internet. Some websites and social media accounts understand this very well. They know that shocking stories attract clicks. They know that fear and sadness generate engagement. And they know that people are more likely to share emotional content than ordinary news. So the rumor continued growing. But as concerned fans searched for answers, something important became clear. No respected sports reporters were reporting Kyle Busch's death. No official NASCAR channels were reporting it. No verified sources were confirming it. The silence from legitimate outlets started raising new questions. If the story were true, why wasn't anyone trustworthy talking about it? That question would eventually lead fans toward the real answer. And when people finally began digging into the origins of the viral claim, they uncovered a chain of misleading posts, recycled content, and attention-seeking headlines that painted a very different picture. The truth behind the rumor was far less tragic than the headlines suggested, but it revealed a much bigger problem that affects millions of people every day. As more fans started investigating the story, the pieces slowly began to fall into place. The shocking headlines were everywhere. The emotional posts kept appearing, but the evidence was nowhere to be found. That was the first major clue. When major news breaks involving a public figure as famous as Kyle Busch, trusted reporters move quickly. Official statements are released. Sports networks provide coverage. Teams, sponsors, and organizations respond. None of that happened. Instead, people found something very different. Many of the posts claiming Kyle Busch had died traced back to unreliable pages that regularly published sensational content. Some articles used misleading headlines. Others recycled old photographs. A few even copied information from unrelated stories and presented it as new information. The goal was not accuracy. The goal was attention. And attention was exactly what they received. As the rumor spread, more users clicked, shared, and commented. Every reaction pushed the story further into people's feeds. The algorithm did not care whether the information was true. It only cared that people were engaging with it. That created a dangerous cycle. The more people reacted, the more visible the rumor became. The more visible it became, the more believable it appeared. For some fans, the experience was emotional. They genuinely thought they had lost one of the sport's biggest stars. Messages of grief appeared across social media. People shared memories of races they had watched and moments they would never forget. But the reality was much simpler. Kyle Busch was alive. The viral death reports were false. Yet the damage had already been done. For hours, and in some cases days, confusion continued spreading through racing communities. Some fans felt relieved when they learned the truth. Others felt frustrated after realizing they had been misled. If you're enjoying this story so far, take a moment to like the video. It helps more racing fans discover the truth behind stories like this. The incident also revealed how difficult it can be to separate facts from fiction online. A professional-looking headline can appear trustworthy. A viral post can seem credible. A widely shared story can feel real. But none of those things guarantee accuracy. In fact, the opposite is often true. The biggest surprise was not that a rumor had appeared. Death hoaxes have targeted celebrities for years. The real surprise was how many people were willing to believe it without evidence. And as the truth became clear, attention shifted away from the rumor itself and toward another question. Why do death hoaxes keep happening to public figures? The answer lies in a darker side of fame that many fans never see. And for someone who has spent decades living under the spotlight, that reality can be far more exhausting than most people imagine. For most people, a false rumor might disappear after a few conversations. For celebrities, it can become a global story overnight. That is one of the hidden costs of fame. For years, Kyle Busch has lived under constant public attention. Every race, every interview, every mistake, and every victory has been examined by millions of people. Fans celebrate the successes. Critics analyze the failures. And the internet never stops watching. From the outside, the life of a famous athlete can seem exciting and glamorous. The trophies, the crowds, the television appearances, the sponsorship deals. But behind those moments is a level of pressure that few people ever experience. Every public figure eventually learns that they cannot control every story told about them. Rumors appear, false claims spread, misunderstandings grow, and sometimes complete fabrications travel faster than the truth. Kyle Busch has faced criticism throughout his career. His aggressive racing style made him one of the most talked-about drivers in the sport. Some fans admired his confidence. Others viewed him as a villain on the track. That combination created something unusual. Even people who disliked him still paid attention to him. In many ways, that is what made him one of NASCAR's most recognizable personalities. But constant attention comes with consequences. When a person becomes famous enough, they stop being seen only as a human being. Instead, they become a public figure, a headline, a topic of discussion. And once that happens, rumors can spread with incredible speed. Many fans forget that celebrities have families, friends, and loved ones who may see those stories first. A false death report might seem like harmless internet drama to some people. To others, it can be deeply upsetting. Imagine opening your phone and finding thousands of strangers discussing whether someone you know is alive. That is the reality many public figures face. If this story has made you think about how quickly misinformation spreads online, leave a comment below. Have you ever seen a viral rumor that turned out to be completely false? The Kyle Busch death hoax eventually faded as more people learned the truth. But the incident left behind an important lesson. Fame can bring admiration. It can bring wealth. It can bring success. But it also brings constant scrutiny, endless speculation, and stories that sometimes have no connection to reality at all. And while Kyle Busch moved forward, the internet kept doing what it often does best, searching for the next shocking headline. That raises a troubling question. If death hoaxes keep returning year after year, what does that say about the world we live in today? The answer reveals a much darker side of social media itself. Long before social media existed, rumors spread through phone calls, newspapers, and word of mouth. Today, they can circle the world in minutes. And that has changed everything. The false reports involving Kyle Busch were not an isolated case. Over the years, countless celebrities, athletes, actors, and musicians have found themselves at the center of death hoaxes. Some rumors lasted only a few hours. Others lasted for days. A few became so widespread that millions of people believed them. The pattern is almost always the same. A dramatic headline appears. People react emotionally. The story spreads faster than fact-checkers can respond. Then confusion takes over. What makes these rumors so powerful is that they target human emotions. Fear, sadness, shock, concern. When people feel those emotions, they often stop questioning what they are reading. Instead, they react. That reaction is exactly what many misleading pages are hoping for. Every click generates attention. Every share expands the audience. Every comment helps the story travel even farther. In other words, emotions become fuel, and the internet rewards whatever gets the strongest reaction. That creates a serious problem. Truth usually takes time. Verification takes time. Real journalism takes time. But a false story can be created in minutes. By the time the facts arrive, the rumor may have already reached millions of people. For fans, this can be exhausting. One day, they're celebrating their favorite athlete. The next day, they're trying to determine whether a shocking headline is even real. The experience often leaves people feeling frustrated and distrustful. Yet the cycle continues. Because as long as attention has value, someone will always try to profit from it. That is why experts constantly encourage people to check sources before believing sensational claims. A trusted source may not always be the fastest source, but it is usually the most reliable. And that lesson became painfully clear during the Kyle Busch rumor. Thousands of people saw the headline. Far fewer checked the facts. If you know someone who often falls for viral headlines, consider sharing this video with them. It may help them avoid similar misinformation in the future. As the story faded, many fans felt relieved. But the incident left behind an important reminder. In today's digital world, seeing something everywhere does not automatically make it true. Sometimes the most popular story is also the most misleading. And while the rumor eventually disappeared, it revealed something deeper about the relationship between fame, social media, and public attention. A lesson that says just as much about us as it does about celebrities. Because in the end, the biggest story was never the rumor itself. It was the reason so many people wanted to believe it. The rumor about Kyle Busch eventually disappeared, but the questions it raised did not. In many ways, the story became a mirror. It showed how modern social media works, and sometimes that reflection is uncomfortable. Every day, billions of posts compete for attention. Most of them are ignored. Some receive a few likes, but a small number explode across the internet. Why? Because they trigger emotions. Social media platforms are built around engagement. The more people react to a post, the more visible it becomes. That system can help useful information spread quickly, but it can also help false information spread just as fast. The Kyle Busch rumor demonstrated this perfectly. People were not sharing verified facts. They were sharing an emotional reaction. Shock, fear, concern, curiosity. The emotion came first. The verification came later. That pattern has become increasingly common in the digital age. Many users scroll through hundreds of posts every day. They rarely have time to investigate every claim they see. As a result, headlines often shape opinions before facts have a chance to catch up. This creates an environment where dramatic stories can thrive, even when they are completely false. What makes this especially interesting is that most people who shared the rumor probably had good intentions. They were not trying to mislead anyone. They simply believed what they saw. And that may be the most important lesson of all. Misinformation does not always spread because people are dishonest. Sometimes it spreads because people care. They care about their favorite athletes. They care about celebrities they grew up watching. They care about people who have become part of their lives through television and sports. That emotional connection is powerful, but it can also make people vulnerable to manipulation. As fans look back on the rumor, many realized how easily they had been influenced by a headline. Some promised to verify information more carefully in the future. Others became more skeptical of sensational stories. Both reactions were understandable, because once you've seen how quickly a false story can spread, it becomes harder to trust everything you read online. And yet, despite all the confusion, one thing remained clear. Kyle Busch's Real story was never about a viral death rumor. It was about a career that had captured the attention of millions. A career filled with victories, controversies, challenges, and unforgettable moments. And that legacy would ultimately prove far stronger than any false headline. The final chapter of this story isn't about misinformation. It's about why fans refuse to let a rumor define one of racing's most recognizable names. In the end, the rumor faded. The headlines disappeared. The posts stopped spreading. But something else remained. The reaction of the fans. When people first believed the story, their responses revealed just how much Kyle Busch had meant to them over the years. Some shared memories of races they watched with their families. Others remembered incredible victories that seemed impossible just moments before the checkered flag. Many simply reflected on how long Kyle Busch had been part of their lives. That is the thing about sports legends. Their impact goes far beyond statistics. It goes beyond trophies. It even goes beyond championships. They become connected to moments. Moments of excitement. Moments of celebration. Moments shared with friends and family. And those memories often last much longer than the events themselves. The death hoax may have been false, but the emotions it triggered were very real. For a brief period, fans imagined what the sport would be like without one of its most recognizable figures. That realization made many people appreciate his career even more. Because legacies are often understood best when people imagine losing them. Kyle Busch's journey has never been simple. He has been praised. He has been criticized. He has won over supporters. He has frustrated opponents. But through it all, he has remained one of the most talked about personalities in racing. Few athletes can say the same. His story is still being written. His career is still part of the sport's ongoing history. And that is why the viral rumor ultimately failed. The truth was stronger. The facts were stronger. And the connection between fans and the sport they love was stronger. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world of sports, entertainment, and famous personalities. And if this video surprised you, share it with someone who remembers seeing the rumor when it first appeared. The internet moves fast. Headlines come and go. Rumors rise and fall. But real legacies are built over years, sometimes decades. They cannot be erased by a viral post. They cannot be replaced by a misleading headline. And they certainly cannot be defined by a rumor. Because in the end, the story was never about a shocking death. It was about something much more powerful. A reminder that truth matters. And a reminder that some names become unforgettable. Not because of the rumors people spread about them, but because of the impact they leave behind. Watch the next video to uncover another surprising story hidden behind a headline that millions of people thought they understood.